Hi, my name is Lunt, and this is my oral presentation for the Capstone requirement with Western Governors and the MBA in Strategic Leadership program. What I'm going to do is break up my presentation in two parts. The first part I'm going to talk to you about my background, to give you a little history, personal history. As you can tell, I'm not 25 and finishing an MBA right after an undergraduate or something like that. I'm 48, married with lovely wife Sherry and two lovely kids. And I'm going to give you a little background about my growing up, which then will lead into the second part of my presentation, which is going to go over the skills that I have to work in the financial services field. And from my perspective, this MBA is going to allow me to take things to another level. At least that's what I'm going to look towards doing, becoming more of, as I described in my paper, kind of term I made up as a master certified financial planner. And so that'll be the second part of my presentation. In the first part, for the first 3, 4, 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background, because I do think it's important to show my career, my capabilities, and things I've done in the past. So first, I'm one of 7 kids. So we grew up pretty poor in Cleveland, Ohio, and had to really scrounge around as a family to make the ends meet. So I started working at age 10 when I got a paper route, and which really began I didn't know it at the time, but began my customer service training, and nothing worse than delivering somebody a wet paper and hearing about it on the other end. So at age 10 I got a paper route and learned basic transactional, making a bill, collecting for it, delivering papers right then and there. And then at age 14, I went and started working at a church, our local church. And there I did everything from mop the floors and cut the grass to shovel the snow, you name it. And I certainly learned the benefits of good hard work there. A guy who basically took me under his wing, his name was Ben, we called him Uncle Ben, and he helped make sure that I had a well-rounded experience there, learning a lot of the things that you do with your hands and a lot of common sense stuff that he had learned working at General Motors for 40 plus years. And he introduced me to kind of the way you do business with a handshake, and I really appreciated that and enjoyed that. So that took me through my high school, where as far as work goes, high school I went to an all-boys Catholic high school, and I paid for that myself, and I did that working at the church. I was able to sneak in, I played football in 9th grade and then again in my senior year. Couldn't quite work it out the other 2 years because of time and money. But so I did do a little athletics then and enjoyed that. Went on to Bowling Green over the western part of Ohio, Bowling Green State University, and I graduated from there in 1984. While I was there, I had to work to get the tuition payments. I did get lucky and was awarded a 2.5-year ROTC scholarship, and I was in ROTC the whole 4 years while at Bowling Green, and was actually studying flights to be a flight instructor as part of the degree program, but I ran out of money doing that, so I ended up with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Liberal Studies. Had to switch that major my senior year, and it was all because of money. But again, a learning experience. So I graduated Bowling Green in '84. And then I got commissioned in the Air Force in the fall of '84. I had some time between the commissioning and flight school, so I went back and worked at the church for a little while, and really enjoyed that because it was a totally different experience as basically a 22-year-old adult and working at the church that he started working at when he was 14, and Uncle Ben didn't see me as a little kid anymore. It was a very nice experience, and enjoyed that very much with him. Then in March of '85, I went off to flight school with the Air Force, and that experience really was fantastic. I was a navigator on a KC-135, flew around the world, and was able to go to so many different places and experience things that, as a 24 or 5-year-old guy, that you don't really get to do that often. And it was a very, very enjoyable experience and a great time in my life. Single guy, just flying around the world and working for Uncle Sam and serving my country, and I very much enjoyed that. Then in 1992, after after a trip out to California, quite frankly, at the Beale Air Force Base, where a buddy and I went up to Tahoe and lost a few bucks at the blackjack table, I got to thinking, I said, maybe I need to take a look at something else out there, just to really try to push myself as a person. At that part in the age range in the Air Force, you're kind of stuck for a while. There's no new promotions. I was a captain, and I wouldn't get promoted then for another 5 or 6 years, and would be flying the line for that time. And I thought, man, maybe I would want to do a little bit more. So I made a decision in '92 to go ahead and get out of the active duty Air Force and pursue a career in, that shows you the kind of planning I did back then. Just thought I'd get out of the Air Force and get a job. Didn't really know what I was going to do, but I figured it was time. So in 1992, and I think it was June of '92, I got off active duty in the Air Force. I had a few bucks in my pocket and spent that summer playing golf and looking at different job opportunities. And I decided that after talking to my uncle and some other folks, that with my background, and one of the things about navigation and flight was, you had to be pretty mathematically sound, and I was, and I enjoy math. So did a little career searching and stuff, and it seemed like the financial services business would make sense for me. So in the fall of '92, I started interviewing with some local companies and ended up with a company called Cleveland Financial Group, which was my initial exposure to the financial services business. This second part of the video is going to tell you what's happened since the fall of '92, what I've done in the industry, and then walk up to where I'm at now and talk about the competencies that I've gained through my years of experience, and what WGU's experience is going to do for me moving forward, and some different things that I'm looking at right now. So appreciate your time so far in this first part, and we'll see you again in part 2. Thanks.